Welcome to Roadmap to 1 Million. My name is Stacey Zeal, and if you're looking to make more money, gain your time back, and rapidly grow your visibility so that you can impact way more people with your brilliance, you're in the right place. This podcast is your one-stop shop for turning your online business dreams into a reality. My main goal is to give women entrepreneurs just like you the marketing strategies, guidance, and expert insights you need to hit that $1 million milestone and beyond. Whether you're a coach, a consultant, or an online brand that wants to make a big impact, Roadmap to 1 Million gives you the actionable strategies and inspiration you need so that you can implement right away, no fluff, no fuss. So CEO, are you ready to buckle up and accelerate your growth? Be sure to follow the show and let's dive in. Get ready to uncover your roadmap to 1 million. Hey there, fellow entrepreneurs. Are you doing all the things but hit a revenue ceiling? You're building an audience, you're creating content and making sales, but you feel like something is holding you back from your next milestone. If that sounds like you, it's time to take our What's Your Missing Marketing Link quiz, your go-to tool to identify what's missing from your marketing strategy that might be holding back your business growth. Whether it's fixing your funnel or diversifying your efforts, this quiz will pinpoint those marketing missteps and guide you to success. Take the quiz today and uncover the missing link in your path to 7 figures and beyond. So head over to staceyzeal.co/quiz because success begins with identifying and fixing those mistakes. So don't miss out. Your business deserves to have the impact you desire. Visit staceyzeal.co/quiz. That's STACYZEAL.co/quiz to get a detailed report and the resources you need to help you grow. All right, let's jump back into the episode. Hello. If you are in that place where you feel like you've built some momentum in your business, your team is growing, your revenue is increasing, but you feel like you're missing out on something, right? Because you're trying to get that next big leap. You're trying to take things to the very, very next level. And so if that is you, then welcome. I am so excited to have you here. I'm going to be talking about whether it's time for your business to hire a fractional CMO. And so if you've been thinking about hiring a CMO, if you've been thinking about investing in support for your marketing, whether you're going to go to an agency or, growing your team, I'm going to talk to you today about why you definitely need to have a fractional CMO on your team. And what I want you to walk away from this session knowing is when that right time is for you, right? Because timing is everything, right? There is going to be a time and place where you need to focus on hiring executors on your team and getting those people to executing your marketing, to growing and all that kind of good stuff. But then there's also a time when you really need to bring in some strategy support. So someone who can zoom out, take a look at all the different moving pieces and connect the dots. And so what we're going to talk about today is how to know when that time is for you and your business. And so what I'm going to talk about is how to know it's time to hire a fractional CMO. I'm going to give you a little bit about what a fractional CMO does. And I'm going to talk about 3 signs that it's time to hire a fractional CMO. And by CMO, I do mean fractional chief marketing officer for those that don't know. And the last thing is you'll also hear about some benefits of hiring like a fractional CMO versus a consultant and some of the other things that you can do. But before I jump into all of that, let me tell you who I am. My name is Stacey and I own Stacey Zeal & Co., which provides fractional CMO and Facebook ads management services. So we help service providers that are, operating online, service providers, consultants, coaches, and we help them to accelerate their growth by providing them with the strategies, the systems, and the support they need to scale. So if you are looking for a team of experts to help you to scale or to help you to take that on your online business to that next level mark, whether that's 7 figures, whether that's multi 7 figures, definitely send me a direct message, whether it's on social or you can head over to staceyzeal.co/call and book a sales call with me, because we definitely need to start that conversation about whether our services are right for you. So let's go ahead and get started. Let's jump in here. And if you have any questions that come up, please feel free to drop questions in the chat. I will be answering them after, live or in the replay. So let's first talk about what does it mean to go what does good to great mean for your business? Because that's the title of this live/podcast episode /piece of content, right? The good stage is like where you're seeing that steady revenue growth, right? Like you're seeing, you're getting more clients, you're getting more customers, you're getting leads in, your marketing efforts are producing results, right? So you're marketing, you're creating social content, you're sending your emails, your website is good to go, right? Like, so you're in a good place where things are working. right? And so if you think about, that first, few years in your business, right? Like when you're really like, when you were trying to figure it out, right? When you just felt like you didn't have anything figured out. Now you're starting to realize I do have some stuff figured out, right? Like I do know what works. But what it takes to go from good to great, what it means to go from good to great is maximizing that growth. It's aligning your marketing efforts with those bigger business goals that you have. And, constantly working to achieve that next level of success. And so really what that means is that when you're in that, when you're in that transition from good to great, when it comes to your marketing, that transition is going to require strategic leadership. It's going to require more data. It's going to require you making, bigger investments to hit these bigger goals. And that's where having a fractional CMO comes in. Because when you have a fractional CMO on your team, they can help you to figure out like what are those strategic moves you need to make. When is the right time to invest in advertising? How do you allocate your advertising funds, right? Like, are you investing in Google ads and Facebook ads? Are you investing in one or the other? Are you investing in podcast advertising, right? So there's so much out there that you can do, but that fractional CMO is going to come in and be able to help you to laser focus on what has already worked for your business, identify those opportunities for growth, and really that kind of sets you up with a plan and a roadmap to get to the next level. And so let's talk a little bit about how do we know that it's time for a CMO. So let's talk a little about 3 signs. I have 3 signs here that I'm going to walk you through. So, sign number 1. Sign number 1 that it's time to hire a fractional CMO is that you've got a marketing team in place, but they don't have that strategic leadership, or I should say you are the strategic leadership. So let's say, you have a team that's handling the day-to-day marketing tasks, right? So they are scheduling your content. They are scheduling emails to go out. They're helping you build landing pages. They're working with different vendors you may have, like, graphics or whatever, right? That is, what they are doing, right? And that's what they're focused on. And your time is being spent leading that team. Your time is being spent making those big marketing decisions that you, one, either don't have the expertise to make or you don't have the time to really drill into and make, right? Like marketing requires focus and it requires a mix of executors, people doing the actual day-to-day work and posting the reels and, posting on Facebook and doing that stuff. That's super important. But then also you get to this place when you're trying to scale and that you need to figure out and really kind of directly tie the marketing efforts that you're doing to revenue into the business or to what's contributing to the larger vision of the business, right? And so that's where that CMO comes in, because the CMO is going to bring that high level strategy that brings everything together, that ties all of marketing together. If you feel like your marketing is kind of operating in silos, or like, you don't feel like things are meshing together, that's where that CMO is going to come in and figure out, like, what do we need to get rid of? What do we need to put in place? What are the automations? What are the systems? What are the right strategies? Who do we need on the team to be able to take you to the next level? Where do we need to allocate budget to take things to the next level? And half the time my clients come to me because they really just don't have the expertise to be able to lead a marketing department, because they're a lawyer, they're CPAs, right? They are coaches, right? They're business consultants. So that's who my clients are. And so if they're thinking about the day-to-day of their marketing, it's just not their zone of genius, right? They may enjoy marketing, or they may love to be the face of their brand and to teach and do the webinars and show up and do the content, right? But actually stepping back and figuring out, like, how do we connect the dots in this marketing strategy? What are we missing? What are we not, what do we need to push harder on? What do we need to, remove from our roster? That is something that requires you to have a high level expertise in marketing to be able to push your team forward and to be able to invest in your team to make it so that they can be operating at their best, right? Because they need that marketing mentor to help them to push harder, or to know what to focus on so that they can take things to the next level. Because when they can do their job better, then that's just a better that means just better results for your bottom line. Okay, so that's sign number 1, is that you have a team in the place, but there isn't no really kind of like strategic oversight, or you're the person who's leading the strategy and you don't have the time or the expertise to do that in the way that you need to do it to take things to the next level. Because you have gotten you here, and where you're at is really good, right? But we're trying to go from good to great. And so we need to make sure that we're making the investments and having the experts on our team to push them far harder and to make sure that they're, set up for success so that our bottom line is also then, set up for success. Okay, so that's sign number one. Sign number two is that you're seeing growth, but your goals are just getting bigger and bigger. And so that's the thing, like, when we're first starting out in our businesses, right? Like we have these goals, and like it's so funny. I was literally walking today, and I was thinking about this, and it's one of those things that's like you are trying so hard to get to a goal that when you get it and you consistently are hitting it, that goal is just going to get bigger, right? Then you're trying to get to the next thing, right? It's going from, 10K months to 20K months. That's the next goal. It's like, yeah, these 10K months are great. I've been at 10K months, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 months. I'm trying to get to 20K months. I'm trying to get to 30K months, right? So that's what I mean when I say that your goals are just getting bigger, because what got you here is not going to get you to the next level, right? It's going to require you to have, to make some investments that make you uncomfortable. It's going to require you to try some things that you have not tried before. It's going to require you to really kind of like laser focus and lock in on what actually works, so that way you can see that exponential growth. It's adding exponentially more people to your audience. It's always a piece of what you're going to have to do, especially as your goals get bigger. Right? You're going to have to add more people into your world, because if your webinars are, consistently converting at a 10% and you're trying to make an exponential jump, you need to have exponential more people going into that webinar. Right? And so that is what a fractional CMO helps you to do. It helps you to align those marketing efforts with your ambitious goals so that you can see that growth, right? Like if you feel like you're kind of just, you're leading the charge by yourself, or you're leading all the strategy by yourself, and that's wonderful. You've gotten yourself here. But when we're trying to get things to the next level, we have to make sure that we invest in the marketing efforts that are going to take us there, right? And it's not just doing more of the same thing, right? It's really thinking about balancing the long-term, long-term efforts and long-term marketing strategies with those short-term marketing strategies, or with those boosts, cash infusions or promotional sales to get that bump up, of extra revenue. But if you're trying to see consistency, you're trying to see that consistent, see that exponential growth happen consistently, that requires a different strategy, right? It requires a different way of looking at things. And your fractional CMO is the one who is able to take a look at all the things you're doing and figure out how do we get there the most efficiently? How do we maximize our ROI? And how do we make sure that our team is operating at the level that they need to be operating? And then that brings me to sign number 3, is that your marketing isn't optimized for scale. Right? So you have a team in place, but you're just kind of like doing campaign after campaign, event after event. And this is what I mean. I'll give you an example. So I see people all the time who are at that, 7-figure mark, multi 7-figure mark, even maybe, high 6-figure mark. And they're doing all this new stuff all the time, right? They're new webinars, new topics, new this, new that, right? Trying to come up with all these new events, new offers, all these new things. But the thing about it is that it's not necessarily that you have to have a bunch of new strategies. Like you don't have to go and say, hey, I've made $1 million on Facebook. Now let me go try to make $1 million on TikTok, right? It's not necessarily that you need to do, but it's optimizing the current efforts that you're doing so that more people make it to the finish line. And I have an example from a client meeting today. We were talking about an opt-in page that we had. And we were, talking about in our last meeting, like, hey, let you know, we want to refresh the page. And so I'm like, okay, cool. Take a look and send some notes. But when I started to do some digging, I always end up looking at the data first, right? Because one of the things I'm thinking about is, I want to make sure our team's resources, like our team are allocated towards the things that are going to bring us the biggest bang for our buck. And if the page is low, and what I found was that this page was blocking a significant amount of traffic from making it to the destination, which is to book the call. Right? We want people to go ahead and book that call, but there was a little bit of friction between there. And so it's like, do we, spend time and resources updating a page, or do we just remove it altogether because we don't need it and because we need to be able to get people to the destination faster and reduce friction? That's what I mean by optimizing, right? Like, optimizing is not necessarily coming up with something new. It's updating the headlines on your landing pages and monitoring the downflow impact of that, right? It's not just saying, oh, we updated a headline, but we didn't check to see like whether that headline increased performance or decreased performance, right? Those are the kinds of things that you need to be thinking about and optimizing. And as you're growing, as you're going from good to great, it's going to require you auditing your funnels and going through all that to see how that works. I have another client has a membership, an evergreen membership. And so we have a new email sequence that we just put out, and we're running ads to it. And so now that we've gotten, a significant amount of people going through that sequence, we're looking at the emails that are going out and seeing like, how are the emails performing? We're seeing that, that first email is getting is a really high open rate, really high click-through rate. But then the next two emails have a low open rate. But then another email has a big open rate, right? So we're seeing these kind of jumps in open rate as we go through the sequence. So what does that mean for our team, for our team that's helping them? What we're doing is figuring out, okay, what are the other subject lines? How do we get more people opening these emails? Because what has to happen first before somebody books a call or enrolls in a membership, they have to open the email, right? If they're not opening the email, then they're not going to be able to see the messaging that helps them to make that decision of joining the membership. They're not going to be able to click on the call to action button if they're not opening it. And so that's what I mean by optimizing. A fractional CMO helps you to refine your strategy and make sure that all of your campaigns are designed for maximum impact, right? We make sure we have all cylinders firing in the right direction. We're making sure that we're finding those leaks and plugging those leaks, because, adding more traffic to a leaky funnel is just going to have you losing more people and you're wasting money. But if we can figure out a way to plug up some of the holes so that more people make it to the desired action, which is booking that call or buying the thing or downloading the lead magnet, right? If we can reduce friction there, then that's how we spend the same amount of money, but we still spend the same amount of money on ads, but then we make more money on the back end, right? And so you need somebody who is an expert to help you to do that, because that is not something that comes overnight. It's not something that you can, Google to say like, what optimization should I make? Sure, you can find a list of different things that you should need to optimize, but are you monitoring that data? Are you making decisions from that data? Are you iterating off of what you've learned? Are you making the optimizations at the right time? Because you need to make sure that people actually see it first before you start changing stuff, right? And so there's a lot of stuff that you may not even be thinking about, that your CMO should be thinking about and having in the back of their head, right? Because after I told my client that, they're like, oh, okay, cool, we don't need it. Boom, easy decision. Moving on, right? So that makes it so that our team is not spending their time updating a landing page that's only converting at, a very small percentage, and is blocking people from getting to what we want them to get to, which is, booking the call or downloading the thing or purchasing the thing, right? So think about that. So those 3 signs, again, let me recap that. 3 signs that you need, that it's time for you to hire a fractional CMO. 1, you've got a marketing team, but there's no strategic leadership, or you are the person who is leading the team, doing the strategic marketing planning, and you don't have time for all that, or you don't have the expertise to be able to do it at the level you need to do it in order for you to get to make these exponential jumps. Sign number 2 is that you're seeing growth, but your goals are just getting bigger, right? And so you're hitting those goals, and that's wonderful, but then the goalpost moves, and that means that you have less time. That means that you have, you're focused more on client stuff, or you're focused more on making those strategic plays that the CEO has to do. And so your team needs someone to help them to stay on track to hit those goals, right? To hit those bigger goals, because what got you here is not going to take you there, right? It's going to require a different level of marketing to make an exponential jump. And then sign number 3 is that your marketing isn't optimized for scale, meaning you have that team in place, but you're not optimizing. You're not looking to, but monitoring performance and making those, the necessary updates that you need to make in order for your marketing to perform better, right? And it just may be, lack of expertise, lack of time, right? But that's why it's beneficial to hire a fractional CMO on your team, because when you hire a fractional CMO, you get that strategic leadership without the full-time cost. Because yes, you may not necessarily need a full-time employee on your team to do strategy, but your team does need some strategic direction. You do need someone who you can go to and ask these random questions that come up during your launch. You do need someone who has who can recommend the right tools for you, and who can even take it off your hands to do that research for you to figure out what tools you should be using based on the strategy that we have set forth, right? So you get that strategic leadership without the full-time cost, because really we're coming in and working with you and giving you the direction that you and your team needs, but you don't have to, but we're not, on payroll, right? We're not full-time in your business. You get the strategic direction you need without that cost. Another benefit of hiring a fractional CMO is that you get that immediate strategic insights. So a fractional CMO, that means that someone has a higher level of marketing experience than the average person, right? Or than the average marketer. This is not someone, a fractional CMO is not someone who can tell you how to dominate on Instagram. Right, a fractional CMO is looking at how does Instagram, play into our overall, goals of hitting a certain number of leads. How does guest appearances fit into that? How do Facebook ads fit into that? Right, like if we need to make a certain number of leads before our next launch, how do we make sure that all of the different channels that we know perform well are all being, used as effectively as possible so that we can get to the launch number that we want to get to, right? That's what it's about. And then the last thing, of the benefit of hiring a fractional CMO, it's you're aligning with your bigger business goals, right? And so I always tell, my leads and my clients, like, I am not afraid of big numbers. If we want to hit big numbers, we got to do big shit. Okay. And so if we're going to do that, you need to have someone on your team that can see beyond just, that extra couple leads that you need per week to be able to grow your business, right? Like I'm thinking about how do we get, 3, 4, 5 times the leads that we need into our pipeline the most efficient way, but while also maintaining the level of, of service or touch points or human personalization that we have in our marketing, right? Or that relationship building that we need to have in our marketing, right? So benefits of hiring a fractional CMO is you get that strategic leadership without the full-time costs, you get that immediate strategic insight, and you align with your bigger business goals. And so let me tell you why working with us specifically at Stacy Zeal and Co is different, and why you should be working with us versus some of these other companies out here. And so we have proven expertise in scaling businesses. And so we specialize in working with businesses that are growing, that are in that good stage, but they're really figuring out, like, I need that expert leadership or that expert strategic insight to take me to the next level. And so we help businesses break through those plateaus, right? Like in figuring out, like, how do we refine your strategy? How do we make sure that we put systems in place so that we can replicate this over and over and over again, right? How do we make sure that the team is operating at their best? How do we make sure that we're doing, running ads at the right time, and we're running this, really good specific ad campaigns that will help us get to our goals? Like one of our clients who has a membership, she just had a 60K launch in September. And it was a combination of ads, email, social, podcast content, other types of marketing, affiliates, all these things, right? And so it's fantastic to have that big of a launch, and she's very happy with it. And now we're thinking, like, okay, we want to have a bigger launch. What do we need to do now in that in between time to have a bigger launch in January? What can we do for Black Friday to get people ready to, for this big launch? And so when you're working with someone long term who is invested in your business, like a fractional CMO is, you benefit from having someone act more as a partner in your success rather than just a fly on the wall, right? We're not just delivering someone a strategy or putting you through a course and saying, hey, here's a messaging template, you figure it out on your own, right? We're working with you to refine that messaging, figuring out, like, okay, where are we starting with? What is the messaging that we're going to start with, to upgrade and start off with? But then it's like, okay, that messaging, we have data points and signals that come into our business from ads, from all the other things we're doing that say that this particular message works really well, or this particular funnel works really, really well, right? So what can we do to improve this funnel? What can we do to put that on a bigger stage? And so working with us means you get, people who have a proven expertise in helping you to scale, right? We help people make exponential leaps. That's our focus. Another thing with working with us is you get that strategic and tactical support. So unlike a lot of other marketing agencies or consultants out there, we offer that strategic leadership as your fractional CMO with the hands-on execution of your Facebook ads, because we believe that Facebook ads are a core piece of scaling a business, but we understand that we have the expertise that your team does not have on how to take things to the next level with Facebook ads, right? Y'all know my background. I've worked at Zappos. I've done ads for lots of different, very large brands. We run ads now for service-based businesses who are operating primarily online, professional services. That's where we focus on, right? And so it's making sure that you also have someone to go to for those marketing questions that come up during your launch. You also have someone helping your team to know what emails they need to be sending out and when, and what social posts they need to be posting and when, and creating systems for them and pulling the data for them so that they understand what they're doing and can start to make those higher level decisions, right? And so you do get the strategic leadership where we can talk about email, we talk about organic, we talk about your podcast, we talk about all these different things you want to do, but then we also bring the ads execution to it, where we're like, okay, now that we have a plan for growing organically, how do we also have paid support that? Right. And so that's what we do with all of our CMO clients, get Facebook ads management services included in their package. The other thing with us is we offer a personalized data-driven approach. So we are not a one-size-fits-all type of strategic partner. We really do tailor our services and our strategies to meet your needs. So if you are someone who does not like to write, I am not going to force you to write blog posts. If you are someone who hates going live, I am not going to force you to go live. Right? Everything in marketing works. Everything, every different marketing channel works. It's just about putting the time and the effort and the energy into it and reading the data and understanding the signals to see if it's going to work for your particular business. Right. And so it's not about saying, here's a cookie cutter strategy that you follow. And it's about assessing your energy, how you like to show up, how your team likes to show up. It's about, what are the right strategies for your particular industry? And so, but it's also looking at that data and pulling together, putting some things out there, looking at the data, and then making changes and making iterations as we move forward. And so we always are looking at data. And the last thing is that, why working with us is that you get that scalable growth through our Facebook ads expertise. And so, as Facebook ads experts, we also help you to develop a organic social strategy that helps to align with paid. Like we have ads where like, hey, these ads are performing really well. Post these on organic as well, right? And so you get someone who's working with you on both sides, right? So we're working on scale. Scale is not just one channel. Scaling does not just mean I run Facebook ads, right? Scaling is all of the things that you're doing coming together to make the entire ship rise. That's what it's about. It's about targeting the right audience. It's about fine tuning your marketing strategies. It's about using that data, and it's about making sure that your ads, as well as your email, as well as your social, as well as your podcast, and all of those things are all working together to help your business go to the next level. And so we've talked about, today, 3 signs that it's time for you to hire a fractional CMO. I've told you a little bit about the benefits of hiring a CMO in general, but then I also walked you through why you should be working with us at Stacy Zeal & Co. Because we have that proven track record of success. We are strategic partners, and we bring our ads expertise, and ads management services to your brand to be able to help your team get things to the next level while also bringing in leads on in an automated fashion. So what I would like for you to do is to start to think about what is that you need to put in place on your team and your business to take things to the next level, right? Like you can do this, right? You have gotten yourself here. You have gotten yourself to a great place. And now it's time to take things to the next level. And and I know that because you're being called to something greater, because you have that, you want to have this bigger impact, and you haven't been able to really kind of figure out what you need to do differently in order to get it to stick and to get it to stick consistently. And so if that sounds like you, definitely send me a DM or send me a direct message on social media. You can also reach out to me on our website by booking a call with us, and I will talk to you and we'll figure out how do we expand? How do you scale your business to make that long lasting impact that you are called to? So you can head over to stacyzeal.co/call to book a call with me. Otherwise, I'm all over these social streets. And I hope that this episode has been really helpful for you so that you can start to think about when the right time to hire a fractional CMO is for your business so that you can have the impact that you desire. So again, my name is Stacy. I will see y'all on the next episode. Bye. OMG, that episode was packed with gems. Are you ready for more? Head over to stacyzeal.co/podcast to get the show notes and to sign up to get our top 5 podcast episodes to help you streamline your marketing so you can make this your $1 million year. Head over to stacyzeal.co/podcast.